Welcome to another Free Friday Tidbit. This week, as we continue to look at back to school adjustments in September, I want to talk about the topic of bullying. You know, being neurodiverse, which is what we are if we have FASD, means that we don't see the world in the same way that other people do. We don't interact with the world the same way that other people do. We have unique challenges and unique gifts that we bring to the world. But because they are unique, we often get singled out by others. And I think we all know that kids and school can be so cruel because they've learned just by by the way they're brought up, by their whatever communities they are in, they've learned to zero in on differences. Everyone wants to stand out and compete and yet be the same. And so kids who are different tend to get bullied a lot. And most schools at this point in time, most schools are really good about having anti-bully curriculum in place. So one thing I would encourage everyone to do is have those daily conversations with your kiddo. You know them. You know when they're stressed about things. So engage with them. Have those conversations with them. Check in with them about their felt safety when they're in school, when they're on the playground, when they're on the school bus. These are all places where kids can be bullied. All right, so if your child is neurodiverse, if they have FASD, it's really important for you to keep your pulse on that and to know when something is amiss and to be your child's advocate and get to that office and have those conversations, right? Your teachers or your child's teachers and school officials will often have the assumption that your child has the same skill levels as everyone else does, socially, emotionally. And as we talked about last week, that just is not the case. So part of your job as your child's advocate is having those conversations with your teachers, your child's teachers, about my child is vulnerable for bullying because he or she acts much younger. He or she is very suggestible. He or she is very naive and trusting. Whatever the case may be, make sure that you frame that difference in terms of reflecting your child's unique needs and unique vulnerabilities, so that the teachers that interact with your child on a day-to-day basis, the playground monitors, the cafeteria workers, whoever, make sure, if they're informed that your child has brain-based differences that make them more vulnerable, they can do a much better job having your child's back. That's it for this week's Free Friday Tidbit. Circle around next week and we will talk again about back to school suggestions, because it is a season of change, right? September. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. And don't forget to circle back on Monday for another podcast episode of Living with FASD.